Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. No Mountain Dew. I mean, maybe instead of doing a dew strike at the beginning of the video, we'll do a dew strike when we've accomplished something or done something good. So, as you know, we're looking at SILVERCAR. I have no idea what the thumbnail is going to be. I have no idea how this video is going to end up, and I have no idea what the title is going to be. But we've been working on the SILVERCAR a little bit. I'm trying to namaste, you know, keep my, because I want to be working on this realistically, but I don't want to make a snap decision on doing certain things. And that's another reason, technically speaking, why I haven't been making a lot of videos. I've just been, I don't know what to do. And I've got, you know, you have a lot of different projects, and you know certain ones that you want to keep and that you want to do things with, even if you don't particularly want to work on them at the moment. And then, but there's other ones you're like, well, if I do this, it's the domino effect. You know, do I use this motor for here, and then this transmission goes there, and then so on and so forth. And you know, not always all the best stuff, the best parts get spread around, and I have to be, I have to really think about what I'm doing before I go down a path and I'm like, oh, just created more work for myself, which I guess is good for you guys, shows more videos, I don't know. But I have said this 100 times. I like to keep my racing up here, or my enjoyment level up here, driving, and I like to keep the ratio like this. And here, in the last whatever, it's been like this, it seems like. And that goes into everything else, the weather and schedules, when I can and can't work on anything. Like I say, it's a hobby, so I want to enjoy it. I don't want to feel like I'm under pressure, like, oh gosh, I got to have this done so I can go to do this. Oh, I got to have this done, or blah, 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 blah. I mean, I'm like, hey, I'm going to just go work on the car, and I'm going to enjoy myself. And then when I'm done working on it, I'm going to see the fruits of my labors. So that's been really the problem. I haven't seen a lot of fruits of the labors. And it's been frustrating. Like I say, the SILVERCAR especially has been frustrating because, again, I'm not sure how much I even like the car. I like to think I'm pretty open-minded or at least when it comes to my projects, that once it's running and it's running the way it's supposed to, and I take it to the track, I'll be like, hey, I like this car. It's, you know, I'm glad that I've done what I've done. But right now, I'm not glad that I've done what I've done. Like this car, I mean, even though we did not have, you know, we weren't super consistent, not as consistent as I would like to be, and that's self-inflicted. But I had a good time. Once I got up to the track, and I wasn't in a great mood getting up there, but once I started driving the car, it just kind of all melts away, and I'm like, man, you know, I'm enjoying myself. The car is it's a lot of fun to drive. I just love driving it. So I'm hoping that we'll have something like that with this car. I'm not happy with the clutch situation. It's compounded by what's going on, but I'm not real happy with the way the clutch feels and stuff like that. I'm just not super happy with it. And then of course the way it runs. So having already talked for 4 or 5 minutes, let's go look at the SILVERCAR, because we have worked on it, and I'll show you guys what we got. One thing we did do was we got rid of that, what I consider horrendous looking fuel line. I know, cosmetics. Now, let's take a look over here, and I would like you to observe all of that. We've got some here, we've got some there. Look at this side. Look at this. Here we go. And when we had the original, you know, when I was changing the upper intake, you know, when I saw the oil when I did the throttle body, I said, well, maybe it's just something going on with it. Maybe the intake is not, you know, doing what I would like. And I'll show you something on that in a second. So I thought maybe there was something going on with the spacer and the gasket and the upper. Maybe it just wasn't all even though. I couldn't find a vacuum leak, you never know. So I just put an upper on and it did the exact same thing. I put a System X upper on, did the exact same thing, so I was super frustrated. So, you know, now, but when I was putting the System X upper on, what I'm getting at is, I checked all the intake bolts and they were all tight, okay? So when I went to take the lower off, the first bolt popped. It didn't break, but it was under tension. It bing, and I went, uh-oh. And I took all these loose, and then when I got to this side, they had hardly any tension on them at all. So it's literally like the intake's potentially warped. Now, you can see it here too. Look at the gasket line. It has sucked that intake gasket down. The other side doesn't look horrible. The line's pretty uniform on where the gasket was sitting. You can see here, we had some oil residue, and then of course, it was really here on these two runners. Look at the intake gasket, how it's pulled down. I mean, what the frick? And of course oil. So we had a sucky, from looks of it, a sucky intake gasket. I'm just gonna go on a limb and say that with all potentially the welding that went on this intake, that maybe it's warped, maybe it's not, maybe it's, you know, maybe I just had it, I don't know. These things are pretty idiot proof as far as putting them on. And, you know, I have had one before that was leaking, but that was me. I had screwed putting the gasket on one side, but this, something else is going on. So anyway, so what are we gonna do? Well, the solution to this issue is that we're just gonna clean this up and we're gonna put the much maligned GT40 lower on with an exploder upper and see what that gets us. Now, I'll be honest, that is not what I want on this car. That is just, I mean, it's substandard, I guess, and maybe I do not want, I don't really want a long runner intake on here. I want a short runner intake on it. So that's just what I want. I like the way it looks, like being able to get the valve covers. I don't want a long runner intake. I especially don't want a freaking exploder intake on it. But that's what we're going to do for right now. Because technically speaking, the System X that I have, I'm actually at some point going to sell it and use the money to put into one of the other cars, but because I don't plan on using it again. But anyway, this is where we're at. What I should do, if I was smart, if I was truly smart, what I would do is I would put the Hogan on here. So that's an option too. If this car will run decent, or if it'll show me something, then I'll put the Hogan on here and it'll just add to the awesomeness. But it's gotta show me something first. I put that super fancy sticker on there and it's just crapped all over me. So anyway, let me clean this up and maybe I'll even throw the intake on because I have a set of intake gaskets here. So there we are. Okay, I thought I had a tube of RTV squirreled away out here somewhere and I can't find it. So we got the lower. This is actually the lower that was on the car that I bought from David years and years and years ago. So I know it's good and it's been ported a little bit, not welded on, but ported. So we'll throw it on. We'll pick up some RTV tonight. We'll throw it on tomorrow, kind of bolt everything up, and then the next day we'll let it set overnight, and the next day we'll fire it up and see where we're at. So, come on, SILVERCAR. Anyway, see you guys in the next clip. It is the next day and we have a tube of RTV, so we're gonna splooge it around a little bit and then we're gonna drop the intake on and then we're gonna start, after we tighten it all down, we're gonna transfer everything over and then basically bolt it all together so that tomorrow when we get off work, that we'll be able to try and start it up. RTV will be set, we'll be ready to roll. Okay, now we can transfer all our stuff over and then put the fuel rail on, well, part of it, then drop distributor in, put the upper intake on, boom. We'll be ready for put some water in it. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have a whole different attitude about this thing, you know. So we've got, basically, we just got to put the upper on and do a little vacuum line rerouting, and then it'll be ready to start up tomorrow. So far so good. Also, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, the alternator is overcharging, so we're going to change the alternator too, you know. Yay. If that's not a substandard site, I don't know what is. We got vacuum line just ran all over the joint, just so we can have it ready to go to start up. So we'll have to put some water in it, and then tomorrow we'll we'll find out for better or worse if we're happy or if we're angry again. So we also had a bunch of stuff going on. The lower wasn't plugged, so we had to put a plug in that. And then we used, this was the most ported upper that we had. It was actually on McNugget, and we had it on with the regular spacer. It wouldn't fit because the race bypass was hitting the shock tower. It was a huge mess, so we had to take all that apart. And man, just good times, just really good times. Well, that's gonna wrap this video up. It'll be kind of somewhat short. A lot of talking. I know you guys enjoy it. I'm sure you've missed me since I hadn't been, you know, making any videos. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up, and in our next one, we're gonna fire it up. Hopefully everything's okay, and we'll probably take it on a little test drive. Then we're gonna have to pull it back in, fix the alternator, and then see where we're at. Everyone just keep their fingers crossed that, you know, that this has got the problem fixed. You know, I'm gonna lay a straight edge across that, or, you know, see what's going on or whatever. Hopefully this fixes the issue, and we can move on to bigger and better things. So anyway, thanks for commenting. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all the ways you guys support the channel. Couldn't do it without you. Wouldn't want to, but especially, you know what I'm gonna say now, right? Thanks for watching. And until next time on Substandard Leader and Fox Body Videos, 1 year only Lincolns, twin turbo Lincolns, I should say. 4 drag vans, proud owner and proprietor of Club Big Boost, right in the middle of a remodel. And as always, fighting a good fight against Dr. Fear and those zombie Mustangs. I know I switched them around, but whatever. And you know, we didn't get a Mountain Dew this time.